You can create exploded view of assemblies by repositioning the parts components by component until the exploded views look exactly how you want it. Once you have created an exploded view, you can then toggle back and forth between normal and exploded states. You can also edit the view at any time or use it within a drawing. The exploded views you create are stored within the active configuration of the assembly, and you can create as many exploded views per configuration as you like. In this exercise, we will look at the steps for creating an exploded views for a caster wheel assembly, adding exploded lines, and placing the views in our drawing file. Here I have a caster wheel assembly and I would like to create an exploded view to help you how the components are assembled together. If I switch over the configuration manager tree, you can see that this assembly currently has only one configuration, the default configuration. In order to create exploded configuration, I will right click on the model name shown above. Then select add configuration, name it exploded view and click the green check. Then select add configuration name. Exploded views are stored within the active configuration, so make sure the configuration where you want to view the reside is active. With the exploded view configuration active, I will right click it and select new exploded view from the menu or simply click the exploded view icon from assembly tab of the command manager. This brings up the explode property manager. An exploded view is created by adding explode step for the view. The setting and option give you additional control over the explode steps and component. Spacing. The workflow for creating exploded view is that first select a component to explode and then click and dragging a manipulator handle to create an explode step. This process is repeated until all of the exploded steps are created. Let me show you. First, I will make sure that the auto space component box is unchecked here in the property manager. I'll come back to this a little bit later. Next, I'll select the plate component. When I do the move and manipulator appears, I can click and drag one of the axes of the try to explode the component. This ruler lets you guide the distance of the gap. I will move this about 215 millimeters. When I release the mouse button and right click, the explode step is complete. Notice it appears in the property manager under explode steps 1 and you can see the plate component listed underneath. If I select the explode step, the components appear in blue and I can click and drag the arrow to adjust the distance if I need to rotate the component, or I can double click the explode step to edit it, enter an exact distance such as 115 millimeters. In the property manager, left click in the graphics area to update the view and done. To finish edit the explode step, you can also explode more than one component at a time. I'll select the wheel and the axle going through it. You don't have to hold down the control key while you are selecting more than one component. Notice when I select them, they appear in selected component window under the add a step group box in the property manager. I'll explode them about 100 millimeters upward and click. Now I can select the axle by itself and explode it outward so that it's no longer positioned in the wheel. I'll click done to complete this step. There is another option I would like to show you that can speed up the creation of exploded views. The auto space component option is used to spread a series of components out in a single explode step. I'll click the checkbox to enable it. You can select the center, rear or front of the bounding box to arrange the components. The spacing is set using the slider, but it can always be changed after creating this step later. I will leave it set somewhere near the handle. I will select 4 bolts and washers in the graphic area. I'll click and drag the manipulator to explode the components. When I release the mouse button, notice the components are automatically spaced. At this point, I want the 4 washers to be positioned below the bolt. Notice in the graphic area that there are some of the components. I can use these to move the washers downward and move the bolts upward if needed. Now that everything looks the way I want, I can click the green check and the exploded view is complete. Now that I have created an exploded view, there are more options available so I can make adjustments. In the configuration manager, I'll expand the explode configuration and you can see it listed in the tree and I can expand it even further to show the explode steps. You can see the first three explode steps listed here for wheel, axle and plate. But notice there is a chain step for the bolts and washers. This is because I enable the auto space components option when exploding these fasteners, which cause Solidworks to automatically group together similar components like you see here in the explode steps list. I can double click the exploded view to explode or collapse it, or I can right click it, choose to animate the explode or animate the collapse, and control the animation using the playback controls. When the animation finishes, I can also save it an AVI file to share with collaborators. To make changes, I can right click the exploded view and select edit feature. Here I can make adjustment to any of the explode steps, such as selecting the last step and repositioning the bolts. And I can create additional exploded view in the same configuration by right clicking the configuration and selecting new exploded view. But I am happy with just the one exploded view here, so I'll exit the explode property manager. Besides animation, another way to view how your exploded assembly fit together is by using explode lines which show component connections graphically and can appear on drawings. Let me show you how. On the assembly tab of the command manager, I will explain the exploded view drop down and you can see I have two options, explode line sketch and smart explode lines. I'll select explode line sketch first and the route line property manager appears along with the explode sketch toolbar. Here I can select component faces, edges or axes in the graphic area to connect. I will select the revolve face on the wheel component and one of the holes on the support component and a preview of the explode line appear. I have option in the property manager to reverse the direction, give it an alternate path or have the line go along XYZ. I'll click OK to accept the route line and the property manager stays open so I can create more. While this manual approach is handy, I can also add explode lines automatically to save some time. I'll exit the property manager, press undo to clear the explode line, then exit the sketch. I'll open the exploded view drop down once again and select the insert edit smart explode line tool. Immediately Solidworks generates explode lines between the components based on how they were positioned in the exploded view. I can select different component in the component list and they highlight in the graphic area along with their route line for easy editing. When a component is selected, its explode steps also appear in the explode step group box, which can be toggled. In the component route line group box, I can choose where the route lines are located, either the bounding box center on the component origin, or at the selected point. I will leave the option at their defaults and click OK to add the lines. One extremely useful tool in SolidWorks is adding to an exploded view to a drawing. First, I'll create a new drawing by going to the File drop-down menu and selecting Make Drawing from Assembly. Then select the drawing template. And in the View Palette task pane, I can see the exploded view listed below. I will drag the view onto the sheet. Change the display style to shaded with the edges. And the scale 1:2. Now the exploded view can have balloons and notes added, which can link to a bill of material and clearly call out individual components. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial.